Welcome back to another episode of the Owl Pod. I'm your host, Dave Lippin. Alongside me, my beloved co-host,
Amelia, right?
And today, we have a very special guest for you guys. We talked about a specific team a lot last week in our episode. If you listened to our episode last week, you probably could guess who we're going to talk about.
And thank you for coming back.
Thanks for coming back. Later on this episode, you can hear our exclusive interview with Temple Field hockey captain Peyton Rieger.
You said it right. Good job.
But before we get into that interview, Amelia and I would love to give you all things Temple athletics. We'll be recapping the Owls from the previous week. Let's start off with women's soccer, who had a bit of a tough week going into their matchup with Lincoln yesterday. The Owls started on the road on Thursday at Tulsa, where they went up 1-0 at half, but things quickly turned in the second half with the Golden Hurricanes scoring 3 unanswered goals and the Owls falling on the road in a tough conference loss. I believe it was their second conference game to date. But they bounced back in a big way.
Oh, yeah. Big win.
Sunday, the Owls played at home against Lincoln. They scored 6 goals, conceding 0. Hopefully step in the right direction for this team. What do you think, Amelia?
I think it's always impressive to score that much in soccer. I've actually never seen a score that high, so always good to see them scoring goals. And go Owls. I hope they continue this success in conference.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it gets them back on track this week as they take on the Rice Owls on Thursday. You can catch that game down at TSC at 7 p.m. But yeah, hopefully, step in the right direction for that team. They hope to build on that result. Over to our other soccer team, men's soccer. They started off the week hot. Home victory against Lafayette. I was actually at that game. It was a little rainy. But I will say the Owls really impressed me in this game. They went down early, and not goals, but they actually conceded a penalty. And goalkeeper Diego made a pretty impressive save in the first half.
Yeah.
I think that was really the shift in momentum. The Owls scored a couple minutes later to take the lead. They didn't look back from there. Defense was strong in the second half, despite the conditions. Owls got their first win of the season last Tuesday against Lafayette. It was a great result for them. And then on Sunday, their second conference game at home. Bit of a tough result to FAU. The Owls were tied at half. They were down 1-0, scored a goal in the first half, 1-1, and then gave up 2 in the second half to fall to the FAU Owls as they start their conference play with 2 losses, but have the chance to get back on track on Friday when they go to Monmouth, take on Monmouth on the road, and similar to the women's soccer team, hopefully they can get back on track before they resume their conference play. So I think for both soccer teams, I think conference play has been a struggle in the last couple of years.
It's a hard conference.
It's a really tough conference. We talked to Lucas last week, and I've talked to some of their guys, and it seems like the American conference this year in soccer is especially strong. One of the 3 or 4 best conferences in the nation. So, it'd be good to see the Owls compete and hopefully pull out a couple wins in conference throughout the season. All right, we got to talk Temple Owls football. 45-24 loss on the road at Georgia Tech. The Owls were within 7 points at one point in this game, and I thought, okay, here we go. Is this Coach Keeler effect coming back, charging back?
There were some big momentum swings. Even the announcers were saying it, that they thought that the Owls were coming back. Yeah,
at one point, in the third quarter, you look up, and first drive, Georgia Tech fumbles. 3 plays later, Evan Simon throws a nice touchdown pass. And I think, okay, here we go. They're down 7, and the Owls just couldn't build off that momentum. Georgia Tech went down on the following drive and scored a touchdown, and they didn't really look back since then. I will say I thought the Owls competed, much, much better. I thought they competed well against Oklahoma, but put up way more points against Georgia Tech on the road. We knew it was going to be a tough game. But I came out, more optimistic for their ability to score points on the road. What did you think of the game?
I think this game showed Evan Simon is a dual threat quarterback. I don't know his exact yardage, but he was running all over the place. He's running through ACC defenses. So impressed with that, honestly. Evan Simon was.
Do you want to roll out your Evan Simon fun fact that you shared with me before the podcast about his no interception touchdown?
Yes. As I was watching the game, Evan Simon is one of the top quarterbacks in the nation for most touchdown passes without an interception. He's up there with the Indiana quarterback, my Alabama quarterback, Ty Simpson, and the UNT quarterback, which could have changed, but I know Evan didn't throw any interceptions this week.
No, he hasn't thrown any picks. And as we move into conference play, that's certainly going to be, a point of emphasis, not turn the ball over. So, again, the Owls have off this weekend before starting their conference play at home against UTSA on October 5th. That game's at 1 p.m. down at the Link. So hopefully this bye week they get the minds right before conference play, and then they get rolling again. So excited to see that team. We're 2-2, long season ahead still. So hopefully, I know we've talked about maybe getting a bowl game, and I think that's still within reach. Let's move on to a team that had a great weekend, not just a good weekend, a great weekend. Mm-hmm. Volleyball, we mentioned it last pod. They had their Cherry and White Invitational. They had 3 matches, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Hosted who? Dartmouth,
Presbyterian, and Quinnipiac.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Started off the weekend with a sweep of Presbyterian, 3-0. I was at that game. Mm-hmm. Owls looked great. Came back on Saturday, beat Quinnipiac 3-1. And
that was a great game.
Capped off the amazing weekend against Dartmouth with another sweep. Mm-hmm. So the Owls are rolling. They've won 3 in a row.
9-1 is an amazing weekend.
Yeah, 9-1 games is pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. I think as they get into conference play here, rolling up soon, it's going to be important to keep that consistency. But this weekend brought the Owls to 9-4 overall. They're 3-1 at home, and I think they kind of found their rhythm here. I know you talked with some of the players on the team earlier this week. Anything insightful out of those conversations?
I just had a little conversation with the setter, and she said that she thinks this year there's been a big culture shift into being more gritty. And even when they are down, they've dug up some wins. And I think that's just a big momentum shift for them, and it keeps them in some games. For sure.
And the Owls, the volleyball team they'll travel to UPenn on Tuesday, September 23rd, so the day this episode comes out.
Today?
Yeah, a big game for the Owls, taking on a local rival, and then they will travel down to Texas on Friday to take on the Rice Owls. So
first conference
game, a big week for the volleyball team. Hopefully they can build off their momentum. And that brings us to last week's Owl, Temple Field Hockey. We mentioned last podcast they were hot. I think it's fair to say they're even hotter.
Yes.
After picking up 2 more wins. If you don't remember, last week they took on Drexel, beat them, went down to Georgetown. We'll talk about the turf with Peyton. I know she's excited to discuss that. Picked up another win at Georgetown, which I believe brings them to a 5-game win streak. Does that sound right? Yeah, 5 games. Temple Field Hockey's on a roll right now. 7-1 overall, undefeated at home. Mm-hmm. I mean,
undefeated in the conference.
We talked at length about them last week, but we're going to keep talking about them because they keep winning. Mm-hmm. So big week for field hockey. Now they're in the roll with conference play. Yep. We mentioned they beat Georgetown. Now we're getting a home game against Villanova on Friday. We're going to bring on Peyton here in a sec. I'm guessing she's going to want to pack Howard Field for that, considering the Big East matchup. But yeah, I think overall it was a pretty solid week for Temple sports. And looking ahead to next week, I think we have some fun, exciting games. Amelia and I will do our best to get to as many as possible and tune in on the road games. But overall, I think pretty solid week for Temple.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right. Well, you mentioned our guest. We'd like to bring her on now. Welcome to the Owl Pod, Peyton. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, great. So we'll start with kind of what we do with all of our guests, talking a little bit about your journey to Temple. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit before this episode. Want to hear a little bit about the recruiting journey. You mentioned before the episode, tight-knit community in field hockey. Kind of, how did you kind of land at Temple, and talk about that process with us?
Yeah, so for field hockey, recruiting starts like really early. You can talk to coaches as much as you want, pretty much. Start June 15th of your sophomore year of high school. So you're trying to get in front of coaches your freshman year, your sophomore year, and that whole summer after sophomore year. So it starts very early, and I had the privilege of being in a good club and being able to go to tons of tournaments and getting in front of coaches. And then March 2020, 3 months before my June 15th date, like COVID hit, and NCAA was in a dead period. So that was kind of crazy, trying to have aspirations of playing Division I field hockey, and people stopped hosting clinics. You can't talk to coaches.
Yeah.
And I was really fortunate to play for a club over in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And actually, 2 of the coaches at the club, Spirit, are 2 current Temple coaches right now, Michelle and Chris Vitisse. So I had already a pre-existing relationship with them, being club coaches for a few years. And they were able to be in easy contact when the recruiting process finally opened up again. I was talking to a few different schools, and I stepped on Temple's campus and really fell in love with it. Just the city vibe, and I loved the culture and the trending in the right direction that the team was going by the time I committed.
Yeah, for sure. I think Amelia and I, everyone we've talked to, that's been kind of a common theme, is actually once you get to campus, the difference between the perception and when you actually step foot on campus, and the feeling that everyone we brought on the pod has kind of had a similar, kind of story. So I think it just speaks to actually getting here and seeing the facilities, seeing campus, and how much that can actually convince you, actually get you here. You mentioned your relationship previously with Coach Vitisse. I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know that you previously knew her.
Yeah, that's a good connection.
And we've talked about Coach because I think we mentioned last episode she won Coach of the Year last year at the Stellas. You guys had an amazing year last year. And obviously I'm not in the locker room, I'm not with you guys, every day, but I can just see that, like, she really is, like, a great coach.
She fires you guys up.
It's clear that, like, she knows, not only knows what she's doing, but she has an energy. I know the media team releases these videos. And she just seems like a great coach to play for. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with her?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely knows what she's talking about. I mean, she, like, went to 2 Olympics. She knows field hockey, if anyone knows field hockey. And so she just has this energy of, like, holding you to, like, really high expectations, but also, like, doing that through, like, tough love and energy and encouragement. And because she wouldn't be holding us to high expectations if she didn't think that we could, which is sometimes, those are tough conversations and not fun practices when, it's hard days. But I think that we know that it's for the right reasons, and she really does have the intent of winning and bettering us and trying to get us that Big East championship in the forefront. So, I think she's a great coach. No real complaints. I think she's awesome, and she's brings the energy for us a lot.
Yeah. So David kind of touched on it. We've always heard of the great success that Temple Field Hockey has had, especially since you've been here. Can you touch on a little bit of how the culture that she's shaped for your program has set you to that standard and kept you at that high standard? Or what does your team do to keep such a high standard of play? Yeah,
I think that we take on a really challenging workload. Like, we have some pretty high-intent practices. Our off-season's super difficult and challenging, like, fitness rigorously. So I think that we have to keep our culture at the forefront of our team goals, because it can start to get really negative and just super discouraging in those hard, tough physical days if you don't have the backbone of like friendship and like the culture that you can rely on in those hard moments. And honestly, sometimes that's the glue, is those hard moments and like those hard conditioning sessions and at 7 a.m. in the gyms at McGonigal. It just really bonds you, and you look to the person to your right and left, and you know that they're giving it your all, so you got to give it your all too. And I think that's been my favorite part of this team has been the culture and the friendships with everybody. We're a really close-knit group, and I do really care for everyone, love everyone, and I think that it's super team first, care for everyone. No real, like, I want something for myself
stuff. Yeah, and that probably has definitely led to some of the success you've had. We've talked a bit about the current team, and we'll certainly get into that later on. But, we talked a little bit before the podcast also about kind of the success that your team has had since you've been here as a freshman. And sometimes we bring people on. It's like, we weren't very good freshman year, a little bit better sophomore year, and so on. But you guys have maintained a really high level of play ever since you got here.
In a difficult conference, too. Big East is...
Yeah, and a challenging conference as well is a great point. So, talk to me about kind of like the standard. You mentioned the culture here. The standard of, like, we're going to go to the conference tournament every year. Like, how have you guys maintained that? Correct me if I'm wrong, you've been to the conference tournament.
Yeah, we've been to the conference tournament every year I've been here. And I think the 2 years prior to me getting here was, like, really the start of that. They started having – the winning record started happening and winning more difficult conference games, making their first tournament. Like, I think that the goal the years prior to me getting here was just getting to the conference tournament. And now, like, that's just the minimum. That's the
standard.
Minimum.
Yeah,
that's the standard now. And it's really – like, holding up that trophy is now the goal.
That's the goal. Interesting. Yeah,
Get a ring.
That makes sense.
Been really awesome to see us grow. I think freshman year, getting to the tournament and playing well in the semifinal game was a success. And I think that it kind of gave us the confidence as a group and a team to know that, like, we can hang with, like, the top contenders in our conference that we kind of maybe thought we were lower playing field then.
And I think it's important to mention, I know you just mentioned playing well in the semifinal. Last year you guys got to the championship game and you were within one goal of winning.
Yeah, last year was great.
Do you want to talk about, like, that experience and kind of the motive? Because it seems like, again, not there every day. I don't know. I'm just from an outsider's perspective. It seems like that result, you haven't let it, define any sort of, outcome this season. If anything, it's been a motivator, and it shows with your guys' play. I mean, you guys have won 5 straight games. I don't know. I mean, is that one of the longer win streaks that you've been on since coming to Temple, or? I
think so, around that. And then, I mean, my freshman and sophomore year, we lost to ODU in the semifinal game every year, and we had a rematch again last year in the semifinal game. And I think, like, we just couldn't. We were not going to lose to, like, the same team
like
3 times in a row.
You got over the hump.
Yeah.
Like, it was,
and, like, that was such a big moment for us, was making it to Sunday. We talk about that all the time. We struggled last year. Like, the Sunday game was always a tough game for us, but, like, that's the championship game. Like, you have to be able to show up and execute on Sunday. So we're really hungry for the Sunday games this year, I think. And, when you're that close to a conference title, and I honestly think that we played the better game and could have really won that game. We didn't get outplayed, in my opinion. That drives such a hunger for it even more. Like, I think in the off season, it changed our off season. It changed how people worked out this summer. Came in with our highest fitness score ever, average, and we definitely started the season, I think, working out some challenges because we did lose some pretty key players for us last year. But I think that we've really made it work and brought in some new players. We have 10 freshmen, like, I think 4 starting freshmen. So, trying to get them to gel quick. And I think that they have gelled really quick, and they are contributing. And it's really cool to see. I think we're playing, like, a different type of Temple field hockey right now than maybe previous years, but it's looking really good.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you lost some key players last year, and bringing in 10 freshmen that's a huge class right there. We talked about it before, 10 freshmen. You have, in total, 10 upperclassmen, which is also crazy. Like, they outnumber you. So how does this team compare to previous years? You had that grit last year. You're bringing that into this season. But how do those key, like, positional changes, like, alter your team?
Yeah, I think that it changes how you have to play the game a little bit. Like, our strategy years prior was playing through some of our key players and going to their strengths. And we don't have necessarily those strengths anymore, but I think it's now using the strengths of the current players. Like, we have some really great skill and some really awesome new strikers, like in Lucia, freshman. She's just super skilled and can bring this energy into the forward line.
Is she the one that bounces the ball?
I was going to say,
Yes.
what's it called when you bounce
we
it?
got to
Because
name a skill. I mean, I'm sure the skill already
it's
exists.
like a 3D skill, but
she
it's also
does it
air dribbling.
amazing.
And she just like slices through people on the
we
field.
got to come up. That's our next podcast. We're going to have a name for that skill.
I've been wanting to shout her out because I saw that, I think, like 3 weeks ago.
I saw the same thing.
And
No.
she went through
like-
like 3 defenders,
Yeah.
and she's just bopping the ball
Yeah.
like on her thing.
Yeah,
it was insane.
it's
I've never
impressive.
seen
It's
it.
very
It's
fun
so
one.
impressive. It's a skill that not many people have and can
To
execute.
do that on the run, that's a hand-eye coordination. Do it in one place.
That's crazy.
Standing in one place and doing that is hard. Imagine running full speed down the field and doing that.
Yeah, and so it's been really cool to kind of change how we play. We're able to play with a different type of skill and different type of, I guess, I hate to use the word swag, but
I love
like,
swag.
Like,
I love
it's
that
just like
word.
a different,
It's swagger.
it's a different
it's like
type
a confidence.
of, different type of play this year, and I really like it. And yeah, it's been great and being able to use the freshmen and their skills to our benefit.
Yeah, by the way, going back to something you said a little bit earlier, I was just thinking of it. Get to Sunday, or however you said that needs to go on like a T-shirt.
Yeah, that was like a Jalen Hurts quote right
we
there.
need to put that on like a shirt and maybe give them out at the games.
I'm
like,
hungry for Sunday.
Get to Sunday. It was.
Yeah.
I think it was very well said, and
Yeah.
I think that resonated.
Peyton is Jalen Hurts.
Basically, and I mean,
Wordsmith,
speaking
please.
of a Super Bowl MVP, let's talk about your performance the last 4 games. I know if you follow any of the Temple Field Hockey social media, you'll know you're the first Owl to score in 4 straight games. I think you had 5 goals in 4 games. Talk a little about the run that you're currently on. I feel like every time I look up the scoreboard, it's as P. Rieger goal and or an assist. So talk about the run that you're currently on, and kind of what maybe has contributed to that. It's something that team's doing well, or you're just kind of in a groove right now.
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, if the team's doing well, it makes it so much easier for me to do well as well, because the midfielders and the backs are the ones getting me the ball in the circle, and I'm able to put the ball in the net for my teammates. And, it's been a lot of hard work over the years, like training my skills, making sure I'm showing up fit, and really, I think the confidence, like being a senior, knowing just how the team runs, knowing the structure we want to play in, just a little bit more confidence we step on the field has really kind of helped me this year as well.
Yeah, well, it's certainly showing, and Amelia and I are definitely excited to watch the remaining of your season, and especially if you get into postseason play, we'll be looking forward to hopefully get into Sunday. As you said.
For sure.
All right. Well, at this point in the pod, we'll keep you on because you haven't experienced Temple Takes, and
Okay,
Amelia says, every pod, it's your favorite section of the pod.
Yeah.
And
I think I say that about everything. Because we love talking with our fellow student athletes.
We do love it.
Yeah.
Temple Takes has a special place in my heart. I feel like the creativity, the topics, I think it's very worthwhile. But today we're going to talk tourist takes, specifically in the city of Philadelphia. Why don't you start us off with our first tourist take?
All right. Today, I think this is one of the strongest ones. We're starting out with a good topic here. So we're going to start with Reading Terminal Market. And we just go overrated, underrated, and then we all share our opinions on it. Sometimes we get really passionate about, like David and his muffins at Saxby's. He gets really passionate about it.
Or Powerade, that was a big one.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
But sometimes you just say, yeah, that's underrated or that's overrated, and there's not much else to say about it. But
yeah.
Okay, underrated. I love the Reading Terminal Market. They have so many options. I go there for breakfast. I get a great cheesesteak, get a pork sandwich.
Pork roll or
pork, roasted pork sandwich from DeNick's.
You gotta clarify.
They have awesome coffee, candy, desserts. They have Termini Bros. I love it. I go there every day.
Okay. I mean, I love the passion right off the bat.
She just listed more things than I even knew.
And honestly,
there.
I was gonna say overrated,
but she convinced you.
Honestly, you just rolled off a really good explanation of why it's extremely underrated. But I'm gonna hold strong. Reading Terminal Market, to me, it's overrated. I'll tell you why. Number one, it's always super crowded in there.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge.
It's worth it.
When I want to eat something, I don't like a bunch of people around me, and the seating in there is alright. It's not great.
Yes.
I haven't been there for breakfast. I've only ever been there around lunchtime, so maybe I need to check out whatever they're serving for breakfast.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. The seating is tough. Like sometimes
that's the biggest con.
Unless you go somewhere you can they have the counters you can eat. It's nice, but sometimes you're walking around and waiting for people to
Yeah, you're
you're
just lurking, waiting for them to hammer that sandwich. See, I'm gonna say overrated, but I'm not as pulled one way or the other on this one.
Okay, I'm agreeing with Peyton on this one. I'm gonna go underrated because I feel like every time I've gone, I've experienced some new food, or even last time I just walked through the grocery section, I was like, I've never heard of half these things. So I think it's a really good culture immersion. You see everything. They have every food. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. It's
understandable. Next one I will say I'm gonna get probably a little passionate about, and that's the Rocky Steps. And as a runner myself, I think this is one of the more overrated parts of Philadelphia. I get the whole Rocky,
I thought you said underrated.
Did I say underrated?
You said overrated.
Yeah. Overrated. It's all right. The steps are overrated.
Okay.
I think you just see people running. The view is great at the top, but people just running up the stairs. If you put your arms up at the top, I automatically just you're just not a serious.
Okay, you want to know why I'm laughing? I did this last week. I have to be honest.
Amelia.
Okay, I'm sorry. You have to do it once if you live in Philadelphia. And
I agree.
I've had a little extra time. I have a little bit lighter of a class load. So me and my teammate Riley have been going on walks. We've been hitting a lot of these places that we're going to be talking about today. But I had to run up the steps. But compared to the Temple Athletics training that we do, I thought it was easy running up those steps.
The steps, yeah. I will just say, if you're going to hit the hands above your head.
You have to. It's iconic.
Okay, that's one thing. But I've also seen people, do that and then also start shadow boxing. And I'm like, okay, you're not Rocky Balboa.
Fighting in the air.
Yeah,
fighting in the air. If you're fighting in the air, we'll get to owl or foul later. We'll just put you down as a foul. So that's my 2-minute rant on the Rocky Steps.
Okay. I already said how I feel, and I thought it was a great experience when I just went. It was a beautiful walk there. Then we walked by the river, which is awesome, right by there. I'm going underrated. Actually, no, I'm changing. I'm sorry. I'm changing to rated. I think it deserves the rating it gets.
We get some horns that's rare air right there.
Sorry. I had a great time when I went.
I kind of agree with Amelia. I think that the idea of it is good. I think it has to be there. Rocky's a core, Philly culture. Cool to be a part of that. You should know what those are. I think if you're living in Philly,
I've never watched Rocky.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So maybe I should be.
I feel like your take is just invalidated.
But also, I think it's a one and done type of thing. It's a one and done type of thing.
It's definitely one and done. I will also say this is gonna sound really bad for me. I actually ran out the Rocky Steps today because we had a couple recruits on our run and they wanted to run up. I noticed this for the first time. Does Rocky need 2 statues? Does he need 2 statues? He's got one at the bottom, and he also has one at the top of the stairs.
Also, I'm changing it to underrated. Rocky Steps is where the parades and in the Super Bowl speeches are said.
That's a great point, Peyton. Because that's literally where that's where I went for the parade last year. So.
Yeah, that makes them underrated.
I mean, that's happened 2 days in the city's history. But
okay,
mister. Yeah, okay.
Have you ever seen the Jason Kelsey?
That I was at the Parkway for that speech. I will give you that. That makes them a little bit more valuable. But I think we have 2 statues for Rocky Balboa. What are we doing?
What if you can't go up the stairs and you want to take a
Rocky
picture?
has 2 statues. Nick Foles should have at least 10 statues. That's my take.
Jalen Hurts should have 20.
Okay, I can get go Eagles by the way. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
All right, let's move on to the next take here. Let's talk about South Philly. Anyone got a take on South Philly as a whole? I know there's many parts of South Philly, but we're just going to go South Philly.
Yeah, I can start us off. I think I'm going underrated on South Philly. I think it's an underrated part of the city, people, it's a lot more of that artsy vibe, but I think it's a really fun place to walk around. They have thrifting, they have great food. I'm going to talk about it later in the Temple takes as well, talking about the food there. But I'm going underrated. I think it's an awesome place in Philly that needs some more love.
I'm going underrated too. I think it has so much culture there, super those are real Philadelphia people there. They got some awesome food, the Italian market, and I got an awesome hoagie from like a family-owned deli in South Philly, and it rocked.
Yeah, I'll follow suit here. I know I've been a little bit more negative today than I usually am, but South Philly's underrated for all the reasons you guys just said. I won't beat a dead horse here, but definitely a great part of the city. Great food. Love the Italian market. Also where the stadiums are. Go catch a game. Great area.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of food, big food in the city. I guess what the city is actually known for in terms of food: cheesesteaks.
Yes.
Everyone comes to Philly for a cheesesteak. Give your take on overrated, underrated cheesesteak. Maybe give your favorite spot for a cheesesteak in the city. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm starting off. Underrated. Cheesesteaks are one of my favorite foods ever, and Philadelphia is the place to get them. I have 2 spots. My favorite, Angelo's, best. They have the
Classic.
best roll
Tourist.
too. Oh my God!
Did
And
you
then
say Taurus for Angelos?
what? And Uncle Gus's in Reading Terminal Market. One of my favorite cheesesteaks ever.
Okay, is that the red and white place? Is it?
Mhm.
Okay, I've had that. Okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that take at all. I'm also gonna say underrated. Even though they get a lot of hype, cheesesteaks are very underrated. Specifically, if you go to the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Angelo's is the best spot in the city as well. I don't know how you're gonna come in here and tell me it's a tourist trap. Angelo's.
I didn't say tourist trap. I just said
If we want to talk about tourist traps, we can talk about
Pat and
Geno's
Geno's.
and Pat's. But Angelo's has the best cheesesteak in the city.
it's so busy though. So worth it?
You have to call ahead.
Okay.
I have shown up and they've told me they're sold out of cheesesteaks. That's a tough.
You have to go.
You got,
That's heartbreaking news
that's,
right there.
that's a night ruiner. I tell you what. But if you call ahead, get yourself a cheesesteak from Angelo's.
Okay. I'll work on that. I'm going to as well go underrated because I'd be burned at the stakes if I didn't. But I'm going different take here. I'm going top 2, John's Roast Pork and Ishkabibbles in South Philly.
Oh my God, Ishkabibbles could not be on your list. Are you serious?
It's amazing.
I've never had John Roast Pork. I've had Ishkabibbles once, and it was a 2-timer, first and last for me. So
I've never had Ishkabibble, so I feel like I have to try, but I don't see how anything could top Angelo's. So
yeah.
Is Angelo's seated roll?
yes,
You've never even had Angelo's.
I don't like seated rolls, I'm going to be honest.
I think it's the only way to eat a cheesesteak.
I don't know what.
Some of them have too many seeds. Okay, I'm not getting into this.
Yeah, your takes today. I don't know. We
Yeah.
got 2 left. Hopefully, maybe you could turn it around because I've heard some crazy takes. But
We've agreed on like mostly
no,
everything.
we've agreed. But like your explanation has been.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Let's talk about the Liberty Bell. I'll just kick it off. This thing is so overrated. I'll just tell you right now. If you're listening, and you love the Liberty Bell. I'm sorry, but like I think I've gone once, and I have every time I drive by it. Oh, that's the Liberty Bell. I don't care. I don't pretend to care. It's overrated. That's that.
It's a bell.
Overrated.
It's a bell. Like
It's so overrated. I think I've seen it once. I don't even know if I saw the full thing. I think I just kind of peeked over at it.
right, like
There's nothing else to see. I see it on the logos. I'd rather go to Citizens Bank Park and see the electronic one.
the electronic. I could tell you right now. My take is the electronic one's better than the real one. It lights up and rings.
Yeah.
I agree, honestly. And I also just went and saw this last week. I've been on a little bit of a Philly walking tour recently, but yeah, I'm going to go overrated. I waited in the security line with just my phone to take a picture of it and then walk back home.
I will say the tourists love the Liberty Bell. Maybe
You
we need
have to
start,
see it
maybe
once.
See, that's where we disagree. I don't think you have to see it. Like
Okay, but the history around the Liberty Bell in that area is
Yeah, you
it's
have
a
to
great
see it.
Don't get me
area
wrong,
to go on, like-
the area is great. Like the area is amazing, but going to see Liberty Bell,
It was an
I-
easy process.
You think you have to go see it because if you're a tourist and you say you went to the area, people are going to ask if you saw the Liberty Bell, and you can't say no to that question.
Did you go to the Liberty Bell? Did you have a cheesesteak?
if the answer is yes to both those, then you officially saw Philadelphia.
You are a Philadelphian, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're a real Philadelphian, you probably have something to say about the last topic, which is SEPTA. I'll let you start, Amelia. What's your take
Ooh,
on SEPTA?
I haven't really thought about this one, I'm going to be honest. This might be a hot... I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be a hot take. I'm going underrated. Growing up around a city, Atlanta, that has a very poor way to get around in the city, I think it's underappreciated how awesome the SEPTA is. and how great, like, they set up this whole city that you can get from Temple to NRG. Like, that is just an amazing way to get through the city. There is cons, but I think it is underrated because it's very underappreciated.
I would say underrated. Cheap transportation that takes you to key spots I go to frequently in the city. Yeah, I think it's just super convenient. Don't have to pay for an Uber.
What, it's $3 now? It did go up in price, I think.
Yeah, the fare's gone up, and there's been some concerns around if they're able to stay alive. But we don't need to get a whole lot into that. But
I use it quite frequently, and it's appreciated, the convenience of it, not having to pay for an Uber.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to follow. It's underrated. It gets a lot of hate. People love to bash it. People also love to not pay for the fare, which like, you can't bash it and also not pay.
Jumping
to
over
me, that's
is,
like
that should be a foul, honestly.
It could be, because like if you're going to complain about the SEPTA being dirty or whatever, and then you're going to jump the line, it's very counterintuitive. But that's okay. SEPTA's underrated. I'm actually more of a fan of the regional line. I use that a lot this summer to get to and from work. That's, I think, way cleaner and quicker than the Broad Street line. But again, the Broad Street line, for us Temple students, super convenient to get down to the games. Parking's a nightmare down there. So for Temple Owl football games, for Eagles games, Phillies games, A++. So I agree. SEPTA's underrated. And if you're hating on it and not paying the fare,
You're foul.
You're foul. Unofficial, but you're a foul. All right, speaking of fouls,
Dun, dun,
why
dun.
don't we segue into our final section of the podcast, which would
Owl
be
or foul. And for those who don't know, owl is going to be something that has happened this week in athletics that is soaring upwards. Shout out, as I always say, the only conference with a mascot, the American Conference with the mascot, Soar the Eagle. Shout out to you. So our owl is something that's soaring, and then our foul is something that is doing the opposite.
And we could just say it needs to be improved.
Yes,
It
yes.
needs to be improved. So we highlighted a team last week. We're going to do the same this week. You probably could guess it by now. Shout out to our Owl of the Week, Temple Women's Volleyball, who we talked about earlier, 3-game win streak. They're on a roll right now. They're coming up 2 matches this week, starting their conference play. I expect this team to continue to soar upwards. Excited to watch them. Again, they're traveling to Penn this evening. You can catch that game on ESPN+. Shout out to Temple Women's Volleyball. Really excited with what I've seen, especially last week.
Keep soaring.
Keep soaring upwards. Maybe one of you. We had Peyton on this week. Maybe next week we get a volleyball player potentially.
Yeah,
Depending on their availability, we'll see. But yeah, shout out Temple Volleyball. On the other hand, it's time we have a discussion.
On the topic of popular things that one does in Philly or happens to you in
And
Philly.
I could even say also relating to not paying the fare. This is very similar in terms of maybe perhaps stealing.
Both crimes, I guess.
Yeah. One a little bit more personal to everyone.
Yeah.
And that would be, stealing packages, especially in the streets of North Philadelphia.
Off-campus living, I think everyone has probably had at least one experience. Me and Peyton were talking about this before. I had blue glitter stolen, so I don't know what someone out there is doing with my blue glitter, but I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you had a great experience with it because
You know what?
I miss it.
I would have loved to seen their reaction when they got that package and they opened it up and they saw blue glitter.
like, what do they do with them?
They don't even return it; they just keep it. Yeah, it's a foul. Like, it's honestly.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how quickly they can get the package off your porch.
Oh yeah,
I've
insane.
had things be delivered, and I've been at the bell tower, and I've walked home, and they're gone.
Yep. You see the picture from Amazon, and then you get home and it's gone. Or you're home, you walk outside, it's gone.
It's impressive. My team has taken up the habit of ordering to the freshman at Morgan because
I've heard other teams do the same thing.
That's where I'm going after this. I'm going to
Because-
pick up my 6 Amazon packages. Shout out Isabella Pincham.
because I mean it's just not worth the risk anymore because it's like a hassle on Amazon and hassle for anything. So we ordered a Morgan, or if someone has a code on their door, you can put the code in. Not always
If
gonna.
the Amazon workers
and that's
feeling
what
nice.
you brought it to my. That was not making any sense. What I was about to say is, can the Amazon delivery drivers take a little responsibility here? Like, there is a delivery instruction. Most of these houses have door codes. If you see a door code, for all you Amazon drivers listening to this, please
So
just
many, I bet.
type in the code and leave the package on the inside. Everything gets avoided that way. It's a foul.
It's our foul.
It's a foul.
It's been trending downwards.
And it needs some improvement. It really
Yeah.
does. And if you're listening, do your part. Stop stealing packages.
Whoever it is.
All right. That wraps up this week's episode of the Owl Pod. Peyton, thank you again for coming on. We had a great time talking with you. Good luck the rest of the season. Excited to keep following you guys.
See you on
Sundays. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I loved coming on.
All right. Again, if you've listened to this episode, thank you. Be sure to follow the podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen.
Mm-hmm.
Share it with a friend, maybe.
Yeah.
You got a friend who loves Temple sports, Temple athletics, Temple in general. Send them a link. Give them a listen. Every Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Go Owls.